Morning. I say morning because it's about 10:30 on what is reported to be the hottest day on record. So, I assume that you assume that I'm off to the gym. Well, I am in the car park of my gym and I will be going in the gym, but not just yet because it's such a beautiful day. Now, you hear this term, only mad dogs and Englishmen go out in the midday sun. Well, you can add one to that. Yorkshiremen with questionable number of brain cells. And that's what I'm intending to do. Now, you might think, what's he going to do in the woods? Well, if you've been observant, you'd notice I'm wearing walking boots. So I'm obviously not going to be taking part in a half marathon. But I'm not going to be walking either. What I'm going to be doing is something, we could go back to the Napoleonic Wars, right through to today, when the regiment, the Rifles, always used to have a quicker pace than all the other infantry regiments in the British Army. And one of their ways of getting from A to B quickly was by walking so many paces and running so many paces. When I say running, we're talking a very slow jog. So I've reached an age where running 10 miles is beyond me and I miss it. So I miss being able to cover quite a bit of ground quickly just for an hour's exercise each day. And the more ground you cover, the more you see. I've spent a lot of time in the past visiting different countries, and this is my touristy thing. I go around and I have a look at places, and to cover as many as possible, I used to run. Well, I can't do it anymore because I'm an old fart. And the other thing is, I need to get fitted up, and I need to get myself acclimatised because I'm going back to the jungle later this year again, and it's highly likely that I might be the oldest one there. So I don't want to let the side down. Anyway, we're going to move on from here and we're going to see how this joggy walk thing works, and we'll give you my opinion at the end. That is assuming that I haven't had a heart attack and I'm not on a heap in the floor somewhere. Right, let's go. So here we are. I've made it to the woods and I am not going out in the midday sun without giving a little bit of consideration to my health. It was on the news yesterday. One of the presenters said, in these extreme temperatures, one should be concerned for the elderly. So keep an eye on the elderly and any old neighbours and that, you know. I thought, good point. So I rang my sister up, and my sister's 65. So she said, what have you rung for? I said, I've just heard on the news that I should be checking up on the elderly in these high temperatures. She then pointed out that I was 5 years older than her, and shouldn't she be ringing me and checking up on me? She maybe got a point. But before we go off on this trot, which it'll be not too far, it'll be about 3 miles, hydration, very important. I've had quite a lot of water before I left home, and I've just finished off this small bottle of water here, and I've got more water in the car for when I get back, because I'm not going to take any water with me. It isn't worth it for just this short distance. It's going to take me a little bit longer than normal because I'm going to be filming, but it should be a nice trot in the woods. The woods are shaded, so the temperature isn't as high as it is out here. So I should be okay. But if I'm not, and this is the last Clarky's Adventures video, well, it's been nice knowing you. No regrets. Right, let's get on with it. So we're just doing a bit of jogging for the first 400 or 500 metres, just to get the old muscles warmed up, and then we'll revert to our rifles quick march. Jumping over a log there. Came back this way the other day, I did not jump over the log. Crawled over it, yes, not jumped over it. It's actually quite nice when you come out into a sunny bit to stop and do your walking there and carry on with the jogging in the wood. Anyway, we'll trot on a bit further and then we'll have a look at this procedure that I normally use. Well, back in the day, as I mentioned earlier, the Napoleonic Wars, the system the rifles used was, as I said, 6 paces walk, 6 paces jog. I'm going to adapt that for my situation, and that is I want to jog a bit further and walk a bit further. So we're looking at 50 metres of jogging and maybe 40 metres, 30 metres of walking. And for me, I find that that's quite good exercise over a period of, say, 45 minutes, although 4 days ago, 4 or 5 days ago, I forget when it was, I did an hour and 45 minutes, but in that case I took a rucksack, weighed about 9 pounds, and I was carrying water and some other bits with me, so to make sure I was sustained for the whole route. But just for these one-off ones, where we're just going to go maybe 3 miles, it's fine without the water. And these paths round here, they get a lot of dog walkers, so if I collapse, I haven't brought my locator beacon with me, but I do have a whistle in my pocket, and I'm hoping that if I blow it, somebody will recognise the distress signal. What will probably happen in reality is every dog in these woods, walking with its owner, will rush towards me and lick me to death, or lick me back to life if that's the case. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just show you a clip of what I do, and like I say, I can sustain this for quite a long period and can cover quite a bit of distance. So let's take a look at the technique. So that's what we're looking at. I shortened some of the legs just for the camera down there because I didn't have a long enough view to be able to do the 50 metres, 30, 40 metres, but you get the gist of it. And using that technique, so far, it's working, because I'm going out doing this and I'm not coming back absolutely exhausted, which I do when I go to the gym for some reason. Anyway, what we're going to do is I'm going to carry on with my exercise for about another half mile, and then we're going to come to a steep hill and we'll have a look at a little bit of a style I use for running up steep hills. He says run up. Well, we'll see where we are in half a mile. Right, come on then, let's go. Carry on. Sorry about that. I've had to resort to indecent exposure. Well, it's considered indecent when you get to my age. A bit of sun out here, back in the shade shortly. One of the things by jogging along like this, you come upon things before they have a chance to realise it. And literally 20 foot in front of me, two roe deer have just run across the track in front of me. You don't think it's because I got my shirt off and I frightened them, dear. Right. Oh, where are we now? Okay. We're going to do the hill. So a little hill behind me. I'm going to put my shirt back on, that is to say t-shirt, for this one. And the reason for that is I like both hands free to aid my balance. It's only a little small tweak, but having both hands free just enhances my ability to keep my stride right as I go. And the thing, if you watch, that I'll be doing slightly differently is instead of putting one foot in front of the other, like if you were going to walk up a steep hill in a mountain, you would try to zigzag like that, because the slope then becomes shallower as opposed to that, it becomes that. Well, I'm going to use the same technique with my legs. By moving left and right, I'm making the slope not quite as steep. So let's go give it a go and see how we get on. Right, camera looks wonky, but you know I don't care. A couple of things. I'm going to do this. Last year, when I was on my survival course in the Sahara Desert, one of my instructors, a guy I have a lot of respect for, I was struggling to crest a very high sand dune after a navigation exercise. When I got to the top of it, I did this. And he told me that that doesn't help your breathing. He said you should stand up straight and fill your lungs. Well, it doesn't matter what anybody teaches me. I always like to get a second, third, fourth or even fifth opinion. And in this case I did. And the general consensus is, and I'm not going to explain why because there's so much technical detail, there's no way I could remember it for this. But so all I wanted to know is which is best, doing this or doing this. And for various biological reasons, this is the better system. And one of the things it does do is it slows your heart down quicker than if you stood up straight. Like I said, I'm not going to repeat a load of stuff that I'll probably get some things wrong about. So the important thing for me was to know which was best, and this is it. And apart from it slowing your heart down quicker than if you stood up, the rest I'm not really that bothered about. I just want to know what's the best thing for me. So it's a controversial subject, so best I would advise anybody who's debating which is which, look it up yourself and see if you come up with the same results as I did. And second thing is the technique I use coming up the hill. I'm not going to take credit for that. I'm going to pass the credit on to the person I learnt it off. I didn't learn it face to face, I've never met the guy, but it's an ex-SAS guy called Billy Billingham, very well known on TV and in them type of circles, and he sometimes does these odd short clips of videos, and he did one called rucking, which is running with your rucksack, and I do that. As I said, I was out the other day with mine, and for hills he uses that technique, and when I watched him and I listened to his reasoning, it made sense. So not my idea, Billy Billingham. Right, home. Nearly back, just half a mile to go. So I made it back. First priority is to get some water in. I'm not sure that was the first priority. First thing I did was put my t-shirt back on. We are on a public road, and I don't know, the sight of me with my boobs out just might distract somebody and they may crash into the woods. But I'm just finishing off by letting you know why I've done this little video, and the reason is that I haven't put anything out for quite a while, and for those of you that follow my videos, they may wonder if I'm alive or dead. Well, I'm very much alive. Is because I've been back 6-7 weeks from my trip to Namibia, and I've got a lot of footage that I'm trying to make into about a 6-part story following me as I travel around the country. I've done the first 3 parts, maybe 7 parts. I'm trying to keep them under half an hour each, between 15 minutes and 30 minutes. But it's taking time. I mean, on days like this, well, maybe not days like this, but a lot of days when the weather's nice, you want to be out doing stuff, you know. So, sitting in a darkened room on the computer all day isn't always the idea of fun. So, I'm working on it. And it could be another 2 months, because what I don't want to do is put them out in dribs and drabs initially. I want to get them all done, and then I'll put them out one after the other. Now, for anybody who's thinking of watching them, I will point out that at the beginning of the first one, I do say that unless you're visiting Namibia, the first 2 videos will probably be of no interest whatsoever. So I give you a warning and give you the option to jump on to part 3. Well, you may have noticed that since I left here, the sun has come round. It's the 25th of June. According to my car, it's 35 degrees and it's 12:25. So I've been out for an hour and a half, obviously a lot longer because of the filming, but I feel good. But what I am going to do now is, as I said, because it's 12:25, the sun's come round, another 30 minutes it'll be due south, and I need to get out of this heat. So it's off to the gym. And I said I was going in the sauna, didn't I? I think maybe the pool to cool off first for a while, and then the sauna. So that's the end of this one, and we'll see you next time.